Hey, Storage Prospector here. Better late than never. This is July's end cap for what sold on eBay, $20 and over. Apologize for this getting out so late. Um, just been swamped this month. Bought a bunch of stuff. Had a lot of processing time. No excuses for a 28-day late post, but let's get it up there so that you guys can see what I sold, and maybe it helps you with things to be looking for, things to be that do sell, and maybe price standards of something that you might not have to research because you've seen that I sold it for that much. All right. So I appreciate everybody that likes, shares, and is helping me out with growing my page. Thank all you guys, and I hope you enjoy. Later. Alright, so here's a little wrap up of July. I'm trying this again. Get this stand right. That's about better. Okay, so this is part of the change machines that I still have about 5 or 6 left of. I think I've only got 2 of them that have this board left in it. And the wire and harnesses, a couple other pieces to pull out of that one. Plus, then I get scrap and whatever change I find in. Every time I open up one of these things, I find change. The most I've found in one change machine so far was like $54. But I think I took $125 for it, and plus shipping. So I set it on this thing. We ended up with 73 sales this month, or last month, or what is that doing? Oh, she bleeping. Well, battery's good. Anyway, so we had 73 sales. That was for just under $2,900. Had off on my numbers a little bit. I don't know where I'm off, but saying I got like 32 under 20, 32 from 20 to 100, and several of those are 99.95 ones, and we got 5 over 100. These Metzco, they were Scarface, and they were doing about $15 loose with the guns, and I only had one gun. This bigger guy here had a gun. The other ones I didn't. I put them up there. They lasted about 3 days. They were gone. Just did a lot on them. This here was the big item for the month. This was a split with Brandon. It actually came out of the same unit those Scarfaces came from. And I had a large price on it, but I got an offer and we worked it out, and I ended up selling it for $400, and she paid the full $250 to ship it. It ended up being about $227, $26 to ship it. So I was a little over on my shipping, but I used 5 rolls of tape, a huge box, and used a half a roll of packing paper to get, and I took the time to break it all down and laid it flat and had it in a really long box. It was 78 pounds, and it was in like an 84 inch long box. So it was a good hour and a half's worth of packing to get that thing to lay out and ship and do good. So alright, this came from Betty's Locker, and we sold probably about 20 to 25 pieces from Betty's Locker this month. This is just one that was brand new with tags, and had a suggested manufacturer price was $168. Got $37 for it for free shipping. So, you know, I'm still going to probably sell clothes for another year out of this lady's locker. This one here, I don't know if it came from the Artsy Fartsy Bob Ross unit or it came from Cincinnati. It was on my foyer. I don't know where it really came from, but I plugged batteries into it. It worked. It had a 64 or 16 gig card in it, and I listed it, and it sold within 2 hours for $50. So that was cool. I didn't have very much into it. This came from the doll unit, which was about 2 months ago. I still have like 9 boxes of dolls still to do research on. This is Mary Martin. She's from 1949. If she was in better shape, this one had a lot of mildew, a lot of mold, a lot of damage on the eyes. If this was in like supreme shape, this was a $750 doll. So, um, I was trying to get half of it because I know all this is cleanable. All this could have been cleanable. It wouldn't have gone back to a perfect shaped doll, but it would have been at least, at least a $500 doll. So I got $100 for it. I mean, I paid $120 for the unit, and I've made killing on dolls so far, and I still have probably 200 or 300, if not more, dolls still to list and go through and price. Okay, this came from the Drama unit, and I bought this unit because of the wireless mics. I ended up with 6 of them. 5 of them were these Audio-Techas that were all in the box. They just had different mounts. They were either the headset one or the clip-on ones. Might have 7. I think I had, I had a Harman mic, and then I also had a Samsung mic that were loose. Well, the Harman was in a box. But, I mean, all the mics sold, and the unit was way paid for itself, but just off the mics alone, I did almost $450 off the mics, and the unit was $300 or $350, I think. So, it's all good. I still have stuff in this unit that's got to be sold, local market, speakers, and some mixers and stuff like that just aren't doing it on eBay, so I've got to switch it to open market. Alright, this comes from my TV unit. Sold a few of these. $50, free shipping. And this was probably a $9 shipment because the ones with these big aluminum things are pretty heavy. But I do free shipping on all of them except unless it's a stand. If it's a stand, then I charge shipping. So, alright, this is a transducer. At a flea market about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I bought a brand new in the box Humminbird Fish Finder, Depth Finder 100 SX. It was new in the box. The box was destroyed. It looked like it might have had water damage. I don't know. It looked like it had been sitting in somebody's shed for a very long time. So I took it all out of the box. Instead of selling it all as one, I split it up between the transducer, the main unit, and the stand. And this took about a day to sell with massive difficulty. The guy who wanted it wanted me to go lower than $99.95. I said, look, I apologize, sir, but right now on eBay, this is a brand new plug-in. There's only 2 other people selling brand new ones on eBay, and they're asking $115. So I was $15 under everybody, and this guy wanted to hit me up even lower. And I was like, I can't go any lower. If you don't want mine, then you're going to have to get theirs for $15 more. So, sometimes you got to hold your gun. I had free shipping. The other guys had free shipping, but they were $115. I mean, it literally cost, I think, $4 to ship this thing. It didn't weigh anything. But I bought it for $8. Got $100 off of just this piece. Alright, so if you remember back when I was recording Randall's Locker, Brandon and Randall's Locker, I bought a little auction lot at the storage auction for $5.50. Well, I bought it for $5. The premium was 50 cents. Paid $5.50. I took a $125 offer on this piece right here, and I think I put 4 remotes from that $5 box, and then took all the power cords out to flea market, $1 a piece on them. So that little $5 spent turned into, when the remote sell, because one of the remotes was a $34 remote, when it all sells, I'll probably make about $225 off that $5.50. So, great return. So this was the queen of the gym right here. This lady, she was listed, this doll was listed 3 times at auction. Started out at $100 starting price, didn't sell. I dropped it down to $59.95, didn't get any offers. Started it at $34.95, and this is what it turned into. $215.49. She is 5 inches big, and my understanding, she has this David Star on her, and during World War II, the Nazis were burning anything that had the David Star on them for the persecution of Jews, and this was a Jewish doll designer. So anything pre-war that was still existing just makes it even that more rare. And she had all her clothes on, and because her mouth is open and has teeth, and her eyes move, and her body parts move, she was dated in the early 1910s, 1920s, and hey, 5-inch doll, freaking almost doubled what I paid for the unit. Alright, so I've got to go do some switching. For some reason it stopped me from doing, I had a whole list of them, and for some reason it just stopped doing that. What the heck? Sold. Alright, well, I'll cancel this out and get to the point where, so the last thing I did was the star, which should have been right about here. Yep. Yep. Okay. Open that tab. Alright, so this was my one return last month, and it was my own fault for not really looking real good at her. The lady said that she wasn't a full porcelain body, and she was a full porcelain body. Every bit of it was porcelain. She said it was plastic or compost, and there's no way. There was no plastic on this doll at all. It was all hard material. I don't know what compost is, so maybe it was compost, but I was pretty sure it was porcelain. I mean, I've lifted up enough porcelain stuff to know what porcelain feels like and looks like, but I'm not the doll expert. Plus, this particular doll was a repose doll, and every single one that's listed as this Brew June 13 repose, every damn one of them says that they are porcelain dolls. But the biggest issue that she had was behind her thighs. It was cracked, and I didn't notice it, and it was a big enough issue for her that she wanted to return it. Well, it cost like $24 to ship that thing, and I didn't want to ship it back, so I just refunded it. I didn't even want to deal with it. So that was the one return we had last month. So if we had gotten that, we would have been over $1,900 or $2,900. But this was a shocking item. I got it up there in Cincinnati. This was something that they had thrown this in with one of the things I had wanted on auction. I didn't want this, and they threw this and something else in with something I wanted, and ended up getting them all for $5 to $8. And this one item, there was one sold on eBay for $75 and charged more shipping. And I did the exact same thing, and like 3 days later it was sold. So obviously these things don't come up very much. It has to do with some kind of mic filter thing or guitar filter thing. So look out for them. The thing's Dayton, and it's actually made in England. So I bet you that'd be something cheap that you can get at a yard sale. Nobody knows what it is. Alright, so there's the other half of the hummingbird. Like I said, if I would have sold this entire hummingbird as a brand new thing in the box with the rough box, I would have gotten $85 to $100 for it all. And that just takes you back to, you need to look at what you're getting brand new, and if it has good value, look and see what somebody might be splitting it up for. I mean, I could have literally broke this down even more. I could have put just the main piece as for sale. I could have put the power cord as for sale, and I could have put all the manuals and stuff on I could have done 3 different lots right here with the transducer and the stand. I could have ended up having 5 or 6 lots off of this one item. And right now as it stands, I've done just at $200 on it, and I still have the stand left that I've got for $30. So $8 into $200, and it did it within a week after it was listed. So good find, good flip. Alright, so this is back to the change machines. I still have 5 or 6 of them left to go through. I think I've got 3 machines that have this modern stuff in them. I hadn't even really thought about selling the wiring harnesses. I actually scrapped a machine and didn't pull the wiring harness out. I should have, because I think I was given $70 for the wiring harness plus the shipping. So I wasn't going to argue. They came close to the price. I was cool with it, and let it go. Listed it, took 2 or 3 days, and it was gone. This one was a shocker. This one was definitely a shocker. This came from the Cincinnati buy. I actually bought this one, which was in a box, and I bought like a 1980s one that had the screw-on metal top on it, and there was one other like home stand scanner. Well, when I looked up the part numbers on this one, it blew my mind. It said that this thing new sells for $650, and it was used selling between $270 and $450. So I was happy. That was the price I put on it. It took 2 or 3 days, I think, to sell it, and it sold at $315. Got really good feedback for it. The guy called me up. So if you're looking at them, What made this one so different from all the other ones, all the other scanners that I've ever gotten had just a scanner. Well, this one had a way that you could hook up GPS in the side of it. Plus, it had inside the battery compartment, it had a little 16 gig SD card, one of the micro cards. And supposedly, this one you could program like 5 cities and all their emergency numbers into it so that you could actually have emergency response from 5 different cities on a button touch. Plus, it had the GPS in it. So, like I said, they said $650 new. I'm tickled pink because I paid $187 in Cincinnati at the auction, and this one item, I mean, just blew my mind how much it got back. Alright, so now, this one's up here because this was one of those items where I told Brandon and Randall that this needed to go up on eBay. It was sitting in their lot. I tried to be a good person. I said, hey man, you put this up on eBay and, you know, it'll make good money. And, you know, they said no, they didn't want to mess with it. They didn't want to mess with the bag. I asked how much. And honestly, I want to say he said $1 for it because he didn't know if it worked. And I said, well, hell, I'll take a chance. I'll give you $5 for it. I gave him $5 for it because I just knew it would do something. It took about 2.5 weeks, and we got $45 for it plus the shipping. So, you know, that's not a bad flip. You know, $5 and you get, after your fees and everything, probably end up with $38. 7 times your money on a purchase. That is the way to do business, guys. Make sure that you're making more than double your money when you buy something. I think I sold 3 of these VHC mini DVD camcorders last month. I actually have a Sony mini DVD sitting here to the right of me. I haven't listed it yet. But that's it. Just when you're looking at stuff to list and sell, look at the factor of what you could do to it if you don't just sell it as a one thing. You know, you could split it up. I love finding manuals. I bet you I have 200 or 300 manuals in my stuff back here. A lot of them came from the arcade unit where we got filing cabinets full of stuff, and I still sell stuff out of there. I mean, just a couple days ago I sold a Motorola 7000 manual for $15. It cost like $3.22 to ship it. I did free shipping on it, you know, so it was $10. It doesn't take up much space. It's in a scissor tote, and there's a big pile of manuals. And the college unit that I just cleaned out, I think I got 4 manuals out of that, and 2 of them are vintage, so, you know, I might be able to get good money for them. You go to an estate auction and you get up into a man cave or something like that, go through the filing cabinets, look for those manuals. People will buy the manuals, even if I was, like last month, I sold Lowe's Continental mower, and I guess it was from 1971. It was in rough shape. It was a used manual, but you know, I got $10 with it plus shipping. So, you know, fees after done, I made $8 on something that you can pick up at an estate sale for 25 cents. So, and they're real easy to list. You don't have to get detail. You can do front and back cover if you want to. Open it up, take a picture of the index. You don't have to do the whole book. I sell them all the time. They say suggest 4, 5, 6 pictures. Them manuals, I do 1 or 2, possibly 3 pictures, and that's it. If I get like schematics to something, usually I'll just take a picture of the schematic code, but I won't take pictures of the whole schematics. I've had people ask about the whole schematics, and I'm like, well, if I send you a picture, you won't need the schematics anymore. So I don't take them. I'll take edges. I'll take something to where they don't have all the pieces. So just things to look out for. All right. Y'all have a good night. Hope any of this was insightful and helpful to you, and maybe keeps your eyes focused. Stay out there hunting on stuff. Look for those quick flip. Look for those great flips. And if you're buying storage, then good luck in all your endeavors and buying those golden units full of all golden nuggets. Something the prospector would love. Alright? Y'all have a good night. Later.